My name is Stefan Albrecht. I'm a co-founder of Qilin Capital. Qilin Capital is a research house that consults Acatis on the Acatis Qilin Marco Polo Asia Fund.
Why does the fund also bear the name Marco Polo?
Well, first let me say also a few words about Qilin. So a Qilin is a Chinese mythical creature. And in times of the Chinese emperor, it was said that if a Qilin comes, the Qilin brings wisdom and prosperity. And that's obviously a wonderful motto for our fund as well. Now, Marco Polo, we all know Marco Polo. It's the Venetian adventurer and businessman who traveled Asia all the way to China. And again, this is a mission of our fund. We want to understand Asia better, we want to understand China better, and we want to create business opportunities for European businessmen and investors. So overall, Qilin Marco Polo perfectly describes the mission of our fund.
The Acatis Qilin Marco Polo Asien Fund focuses on China. Why do you see opportunities here in particular?
Well, before I go into China specifically, let me also highlight again the overall Asian opportunities. In Asia, more than 50% of the population of this planet lives. You know, if you look at the GDP, purchasing power parity adjusted, Asia creates more GDP than the rest of the world together. You know, if you look at growth, it's even more phenomenal. 60% of the global growth comes from Asia. In addition to these phenomenal growth numbers, you know, Asia is the home of many attractive companies. Whether it's in India, in its fast-growing environment, or whether it's semiconductor companies in Taiwan or South Korea, there are terrific opportunities. However, from our perspective, China is still unique. China is the largest economy in Asia, you know, and China drives the growth in the whole region. China is predicted to overtake the US as the largest, you know, economy on the planet in the next 10 to 15 years. For us, even more important are the companies in China. There are very competitive companies in very attractive industries. You know, whether it's digital companies, whether it's renewable energy, you know, or whether it's electric vehicles, in many of the future industries, we can already tell that the leaders will come from China. These companies are innovative, they're extremely large, which means they have economies of scale, which makes their cost position very, very competitive globally. So we are truly convinced that in many of these industries, the future leaders will come from China. And this is very unique. We don't see that in many other Asian countries. So therefore, China, from our perspective, truly an outstanding role and therefore the focus of our fund.
What distinguishes the fund from other funds in the same category? What are its strengths?
I think it's important to understand where the founders of Qilin Capital come from. Professor Bayer von Morgenstern and myself have been working with McKinsey for 50 years together. 25 years of these 50 years we lived and worked in Asia and in China. So we are really in detail in understanding this market and its companies. Based on this, we developed our own proprietary methodology on how we identify the best companies. This is very quantitative, but on the other side, it also considers the strategies of these companies. So with this approach, we feel very comfortable that we manage to identify the best and strongest companies, which in the long term will be, from our perspective, good investments.
What else should an investor definitely know about the fund?
Well, in good old McKinsey tradition, I have 3 additional points that I would like to highlight here. You know, I think the first one is our team. You know, besides Professor Bayer von Morgenstern and myself, we have a small but terrific team in Shanghai on site. And I think this is very important. I think in today's environment, With the global perspective only, you shouldn't decide on China investments, and with the Chinese perspective only, you also should not decide on China investments. You have to bring these two perspectives together, and I think that's what we do. The second point that's very important is our focus. We have a clear focus on China, on technology, on consumption, and on growth. These are the areas where we believe will be the most interesting investment opportunities in the next few years. Also in these areas, and this is my third point, the valuations currently are very attractive. China is coming from 3 years of underperformance in its stock markets. This has never happened before. It's a very unique situation we are in. If you look at the PE ratios of an Amazon, let's say they have a PE of 50 and Alibaba has a PE of 15. These valuation differences are not justified because they are very, very similar companies. So also from a valuation perspective, we actually believe it might be a great time to invest in China.